This is the making of a monster. In 1950, newlyweds Clarnell and Edmund Kemper Jr. posed for pictures in their best clothes, cementing their love with a kiss. Their son Ed would later claim this image was his favorite of all the family photos, because it was the only one in which his mother looked happy. But behind the picture-perfect facade, their marriage was a turbulent one. And by the time Ed turned 9, the cracks had widened into a chasm. His parents divorced, and Ed moved with his mother and sisters to a house in Montana. Clarnell was domineering and cruel, forcing Ed to sleep in the basement. She was convinced he might harm his sisters. Ed preferred it that way. He liked being alone in the dark with his thoughts. Or maybe it was the shadows that did this to him. Maybe it was the flickering light bulb hanging from the basement ceiling. Whatever it was, something dark was growing inside him. He started bringing dolls down into the basement and decapitating them. Sometimes he'd find small animals and torture them for hours, only stopping when he had to go to school. At 14, Ed ran away from home to live with his father, but he was soon sent to his grandparents. It was the first time he'd ever been away from his mother for an extended period. He later told investigators he chose to murder them both because they reminded him of his mother. On December 8, 1964, at 15, he bludgeoned his grandparents to death, telling police he wanted to know what it felt like. He was institutionalized at Atascadero State Hospital, but his high IQ allowed him to manipulate doctors into thinking he was harmless. In reality, he was anything but. At 21, he was deemed rehabilitated and released back into society. The streets were a hive of activity. Cars zoomed past Ed, their engines echoing in his ears. The freedom felt good at first, but as the months passed, the hollowness inside him grew. Back with his mother, he felt the darkness growing again, twisting and coiling until it consumed him. In 1965, he began dating a woman named Mary Ann, who became pregnant almost immediately. He didn't want a baby. It made him feel trapped, like a rat in a maze. On September 27th, he smothered Mary Ann to death, then called the police to report her missing. When questioned, Ed was polite and helpful, even offering to take a polygraph test, which he passed. The next day, he led investigators to Mary Ann's body. He was charged with murder, but after a year of psychiatric testing, the charges were dropped. He got away with murder. For the next 2 years, he continued seeing a therapist, but stopped attending sessions after he was told he couldn't hurt people anymore. Soon after, he began dating again. His new girlfriend became pregnant, and in May of 1972, he took her out into the woods, dug a hole, and buried her alive. This was just the beginning. Over the next 5 years, Ed Kemper would murder at least 8 more women, taking their lives with a ferocity and brutality that shocked even seasoned detectives. He became known as the co-ed killer, and all the while, his own demons grew stronger. That's all for today. See you next time.